Play.
Well, hello there, and welcome to WTA Weekly. And this is crunch time. This is the final countdown. I'm not going to sing it. The only way forward now is the end of 2023. Yeah, we're in this wind-up moment. We will be spending a lot of time talking about Cancun. And I'm very excited to hear what John thinks about all the prospective finalists. John, looking forward to this one, right?
Yeah, I think it's been a fantastic year on the WTA side, and these finals, I just hope, live up to the 2023 that we've had, and there's a lot of optimism, even for the stadium now looking like it's in decent shape.
Yeah, it should be there, right? I mean, I thought Marketa Vondrousova would organise the players to go and help, or maybe that was just me falling for some Photoshop. But there was a tennis tournament that happened this week. Hello, Anastasia. How lovely to see you, as always. There was an event that happened this week. It was the only bit of WTA tennis kind of on the main tour going on, and that was in China with the Elite Trophy, where we saw who was best of the rest, really. And that was ended up being best of the rest was Beatrice Haddad-Maia, who won the title. Really looked like it was a deserved final between her and Zhang Qinwen. Both looked like being the best players all week. Kasatkina looked like she might have had a shot at disrupting it, but after the way she kind of took control of her group. But really, it was about Haddad-Maia, about Zhang, and they put on an excellent final. Really good quality, very tight first tiebreak. That Haddad-Maia won 13-11 and then won the second set of tiebreak as well, having served for the match. So it was a bit back and forth. It wasn't a straightforward straight sets win for Haddad-Maia. And now she rises up to world number 11 and just a few points off the top 10. So yeah, as Anastasia has pointed out, didn't drop a set. So Beatrice Haddad-Maia might be top 10 quite soon. I don't think she's broken it yet. That would be. Would you be surprised if she got that far? Was that something you'd expect from her?
I think she's one of these players that'll be on the precipice of the top 10, and she might be someone who sort of pops in and pops out every now and again. Yeah. Do I see her winning a Grand Slam? Probably not, or certainly not in the near future. I mean, her run in Paris was very impressive, and she did push Iga on the clay there, which is something that not many people. There we go. Live ranking has her at number 11. So yeah, it's she's very, very close. Which is just. But do I see her being at the WTA finals, for example, in a year from now? Quite possibly. Do I see her sort of being in the absolute elite in the next 12 months? Probably not. I don't know if she has the weapons to really sort of trouble us out. I mean, the problem is that these players are going to get better. I mean, I remember Sabalenka after the US Open final suggesting she wants to improve her net play. And I'm thinking, my goodness me, if Sabalenka becomes a good net player, then good luck for everyone else, particularly on 3 of the 4 surfaces in terms of the Grand Slams. So that's the trouble for players like Beatrice, to then go up to the next level. There's a lot of catching up to do. And then you've got someone like Coco, who's only going to get better and better. And we all know about Iga and Rybakina and so on and so forth. But yeah, definitely. I mean, she's live ranking number 11. Her performances in that next group of players suggest she is almost the best of the rest. But I did say a week ago, before this Elite Trophy got underway, that I wondered about some of the motivation amongst some of the players that were going there. I thought Qinwen Zheng would be motivated on home soil. So look at that. She got to the final.
Which she was, and she made it really, really close. Like, she
Yeah.
tried to come back several times.
Yeah, and she's knocking on the door top 10 as well. So
yeah, she would have gone top 10 if she'd won the title. So she's definitely knocking on the door as well. She's right. You're kind of in that sort of chasing pack of 11 to 20. And it's all, the top 20 on the WTA side is all pretty close together in terms of, it would be that the number 20 upsetting the number 1, beating the number 1 wouldn't be that much of an upset. But what you kind of, I guess what I'm interested in your response there is like, well, how am I getting top 10? Yeah, probably winning a Grand Slam. No, but I guess we've seen over like every top 10 we've ever had, right? Like, just because you're a top 10 player doesn't make you a Grand Slam contender.
No.
They are very different things. And we can look at players throughout history who've like cracked top 10 and been super consistent and had admirers as a very, very consistent player. Zheng, I'm excited about though.
Pegula and Sakkari spring to mind right now. I mean, who knows? A year from now, maybe Pegula's a Grand Slam winner. But Pegula and Sakkari are these players that are super consistent throughout the year, picking up titles, probably a little bit less so in Sakkari's case. But you know what I mean? Getting to Indian Wells final. She's won a 1,000 this year as well, Sakkari, and Pegula even more solid in terms of titles. So, yeah, and maybe that's where Haddad Meyer's level will be. But then you've got Yvonne Drusova winning Wimbledon, so anything's possible.
Yeah, anything's possible. But yeah, good on Haddad Maia. And if she follows in the footsteps of someone like Barty and Sabalenka in 18 and 19, the most recent Elite Trophy winners, I think she's in for a good season. But I think that's all we need to talk about for the Elite Trophy, to be honest. I think we know why everyone's here because, well, in just under 3 hours' time, or maybe just about 3 hours if you discount all the walk-ons and the warm-up, we will be beginning the first match of the WTA finals. I guess, so what we're going to do today is we're going to run through our thoughts on every player in the field and their prospects. This isn't necessarily going to be a year in review episode. We will do that after the event. But I wanted to quickly touch on before we run through the players involved. Someone who isn't going to be there, and we found out this week wouldn't be there, Karolina Muchova, pulled out, injuries besetting her once more. And if there's anything that kind of encapsulates her career, it's this. It's that she's in her level is one of the best in the world, but her body won't allow her to compete a lot of the time because of the injury problems. So it's unfortunate because I was really, really excited to see how she was going to compete with this pack, really.
Yeah, me too. And I think, I mean, as we can see at the headline there, Maria Sakkari is the one who benefits from her absence. But there is one very small chink of light for her. And to think that she got to the semi-finals of the US Open and potentially injured as well. And I remember that match, it was 2 close sets. Coco always sort of had the edge in both of those. But there was that lengthy delay because of the protest. And during that lengthy delay, she started to receive treatment. And you could see her backstage with her physio as well. And you're thinking, oh, my goodness me. I mean, she probably wouldn't have had the medical timeout if it wasn't for the protest delay, if you like, the enforced delay that we had. And I think it probably did hamper in that match, particularly as it went on. And she hasn't been seen since. And of course, she's pulled out of the Billie Jean King Cup as well. I mean, so much talent. I mean, we talked about Haddad Meyer and Kim Wen-jeng as well, but Haddad Meyer in particular. You know, this is someone, Mukova, who, if she's fully fit, could be knocking at the door of all 4 slams. I mean, she was consistent when she was fit. She was at the French Open semi-finals and she was in the semi-finals of the US Open. I know you'll say, well, she went out in round 1 at Wimbledon, but there was all sorts of things. She didn't play after Paris until the Thursday of the first week at Wimbledon because of the rain and stuff. And I think she had a tough first round. I forget who she lost to now, but she's someone who we know can get to the
Vondrousova.
Did she lose to Vondrousova?
Let me just double check that.
Yeah, double check that while I just continue. And I feel very sorry for her with these injuries because it is something that we hoped and thought that she might be getting over this year. Hi, Luki, by the way. Luki2806, great to have you in the chat. And do hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. But yeah, she's someone who we just want to have a year.
Oh, no, it wasn't Vondrousova.
No. Was it the German, Niemeyer?
Julie Niemeyer.
Yeah, who's very capable on the grass. You know, I think she was a Wimbledon quarterfinalist not so long ago as well last year. Yeah. So, yeah, she had a tough that, and I just fingers crossed that she can. And she's also, as I say, pulled out a Billie Jean King Cup. I mean, the Czechs are so talented and got so much depth that Buskova comes in. So, you know, I think they'll still be favourites for the Billie Jean King Cup, which is 8 days away from me in terms of flying out there, and 9 days before until that gets underway. I guess it'll be interesting to see which players maybe are there any players that are competing in Cancun that might potentially still fly off to Seville if they go out early enough?
Who's in the Billie Jean King Cup finals? What countries?
United States, I think, are there.
Yeah, so, Pegula's not playing, I don't think.
You don't think she'll play Billie Jean King Cup?
Gauff definitely isn't.
You don't think that they'll that if they went out in the group stage that they would be tempted to zoom off to Seville?
She's not been announced in the team, I don't think. She's not in the team.
Oh, okay. Who is in the team?
Danielle Collins, Sophia Kenin, Madison Keys, Sloane Stephens, and Taylor Townsend.
All right. So still pretty strong. In which case, then, I don't think, and just looking at the other nationalities that'll be playing in Seville, I don't.
Yeah, we know Iga's not playing.
Yeah, and we know Iga's not playing. So basically, and now that Mukova is both injured and pulled out, etc., there's nobody because Greece are not there. So there's nobody basically in Cancun.
Did Vondrousova pull out?
Oh, good question. So yeah, that's the one because she's Czech, of course. So is she in the Czech team?
Yeah. I'm trying to find it. I can't find.
I'm having a look right now. I'm just having a look now.
Yeah. Live research.
Yeah, Vondrousova is there according to the Billie Jean King website. At least I'm just on it now. So she's on the web page at least, but then so is Coco Gauff. So maybe not.
Yeah, Gauff is definitely not in the US team.
So there's her face to the on the website, but yeah, maybe somebody.
Yeah, Billie Jean King Cup is not. Yeah, I think it's just. We need to have a look at the finals. I think about the 2023 finals. Here we go. Yeah, the teams are going. So yeah, they've got. Here we go. Czechia. So Mukova was in it, but she's pulled out. Vondrousova has been named in the team.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Chikova, Noskova, and Siniakova.
And Buskova's replaced Mukova. Anyway, we've gone sidetracked there, but yeah, big pity about Mukova, but lucky Sakkari.
Yes.
Shall we start with Maria?
Yeah, let's start with Maria because let's work our way up the ranking, shall we? Maria Sakkari, number 8, 3rd year in a row at the WTA finals, and this year, very much on merit. I mean, you would also say about 2021 with 2 semi-finals. Grand Slam semi-finals, but this year gets in mainly because of that performance in Guadalajara, taking advantage of the very, very top players not being around and proving herself to be a very effective top 10 player by picking up the pieces. So she could go well in Mexico. she seems to like it there. Obviously, different
Yeah,
conditions,
yeah.
different court. We don't know how it plays. I know that Lukey's been sharing some info from Polish TV from behind the scenes, but we don't know until we see it, essentially. So I think, Sakkari likes it in Mexico. She could be a contender. She certainly won't cower in the face of it. She's going to give her all against these other girls. It just depends whether it's going to be enough.
Yeah. You say she's fully deserving. Of course, she is in that she's number 9 in the world. She won a 1,000 recently, 3rd year in a row. Hi, Miles, as well. Miles and Anastasia, it's great to have them in the chat because they are going to be bringing us the first match from Cancun. We might do both matches. I've just asked Vanch if he wants to join as well, but we'll see about that. And I might even ask Hanlon too, but that's for later. I completely agree with you that just because, things happen in tennis. I mean, by the way, she's been unlucky with 1 or 2 draws this year at Grand Slams, particularly playing Mukova in the first round at the French Open. So she's due a bit of luck. But looking at the pictures that they took on the beach, she was the one that was the kind of look, even in this picture I'm sharing right now, you can't see she's there, but you can barely see her. You can see the others. You can see 6 of the 8 pretty clearly. You can just about see Ons, and then you can barely see. And I don't know if Sabalenka's selfie that she's taking there also blocks out Maria, but it reminds me of the with her there. It does remind me a bit of I don't know if you've ever seen that picture of Ashley Cole with Roma team photo. Let me see if I can get it up.
No, I'm not that big of a football fan, so
I
no.
know you're not, but I thought nevertheless. Look at this team photo. I'm going to show you right now. So there's a team photo for Roma from about 10 years ago, maybe a bit less, 5 years ago. And look at Ashley Cole there, just
It's off at the side.
and I just thought to myself that with some of these pictures with Sakkari kind of getting drafted in at the last moment, that perhaps she felt the same. But listen, she's the outsider for a reason. I think if she does do well, it might be because she benefits from something like I'm just thinking of other players in the tournament rather than her draw, but something like Swiatek. Sorry, not Swiatek. Jabeur, I think, has to be a doubt in terms of injuries. We'll come to her shortly. So maybe Sakkari, if she's fit and firing, might benefit from 1 or 2 other circumstances. You mentioned the Mexico factor. You mentioned the fact I think she did okay last year in Texas, right? Did she get to the semis in?
Yeah, she did. I thought she was looking really good last year. Like, yeah, she was unbeaten in her group, and then she got surprised by Garcia a little bit, who I think had got woken up by Daria Kasatkina.
Yeah, she won all 3 of her group matches then last year, did she?
Yeah, she did.
Last year, yeah, just looking at her results. So, I mean, and she won the 3 without dropping a set. So, bearing in mind the level of opponent, so I'm just sharing her results on the screen from last year. She beat Sabalenka, Jabeur, and Pegula all in straight sets. I mean, arguably, the Sabalenka win is the one that stands out the most. But
yeah, given Sabalenka went on to get
and
the way she beat Iga.
Yeah, Sabalenka went on to get to the final because she won the semi-final against Iga, as you said. You would imagine that Sakkari is the outsider, though, in terms of the 8. I'm just wondering about who does she begin her tournament against in the WTA final. She's got Rybakina. So again, what condition is Rybakina in? We've seen her have an up and down second half of the season, Elena. So that'll be interesting. She's got Pegula and Sabalenka. Yeah,
here's another thing about Sakkari, because I've just looked at her 2021 performance. And she got through to the semi-finals in her group stage as well. Like semi-finals, she came second in her group just. She beat Sabalenka in 3 and Swiatek, albeit a very kind of much more subdued Swiatek, in her group, and lost to Badosa, and then narrowly lost to Kontaveit in the semis. So very similar sort of performance back-to-back years. Sort of she definitely seems to bring it when it comes to the WTA finals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different kind of pressure. I mean, Sabalenka Sabalenka, I'm getting names muddled up. Sabalenka and Iga will have a particular pressure because there's the world number 1 on the line. But somebody like Sakkari can just feel free, She can just. I'm not predicting a Sakkari win, by the way. As I said, I think she's the outside of her reason. I think she probably won't emerge from the group. I do think there are one or two asterisks behind, not asterisks, wrong word, but one or two caveats to recall from some of these matches. I think Sabalenka a year later is a different beast. Rybakina is there this year, and if she's healthy, which is a question mark, then I imagine those two would be the favorites to emerge from this group. And Sakkari's head-to-head outside of this tournament against the big ones, she does sort of have a semi-final problem for a reason. It's because she ends up running into an Iga or a Sabalenka or something like that. And I think Sabalenka now is a comfortable favorite, at least when she's playing Maria.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sabalenka's gonna wanna get rid of any kind of run she's had, because she's now like she's lost to Sakkari in the last 2 WTA finals. So that's not a good record. She's definitely going to turn it around. She's going to be good enough. But I agree with your assessment. Sakkari is the outsider in the group, but I don't think we should write her off. But I think she's got a tougher ask compared to everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the groups and you go, "Wow, that's a tough group," but it's the top 8 players in the world from this year, with the exception of Mukova. So they're all going to be tough, really.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at someone else who's maybe got a slight, like the other lower ranked player in a group, and that is Marketa Vondrousova, who is the 7th seed. 7th ranked player. She's in the group with Swiatek, Gauff, and Jabeur. Arguably, given the players in that group, she has a decent chance. I think she's got a reasonable chance, more of a reasonable chance of putting off an upset, because she's not against someone who can. Not many players in that group are going to overpower her. So she has the opportunity to make things a bit tricky and pull off some surprises. So I think she's got a better prospect than compared to Sakkari, only because of how the groups kind of fell. Obviously the Wimbledon champion this year, and she's coming here to prove that she belongs in this sort of elite 8.
Yeah. When I was just moving on there from Sakkari, I had a feeling you were going to obviously come to Vondrousova next, because she probably is again a slight outsider. But you're right, that group. You would think that Iga would have enough to win 2 of her 3 matches, which is basically what it takes to qualify. There is a permutation where you can win 1 and go through, and there's also a permutation where you win 2 and not go through. But 2 should be enough, and I think 2 out of 3 victories is well within Iga's grasp. Then it's kind of the other 3 players. I think Ons, as I say, must be big question marks regarding her health. And Marketa seems to be fine health-wise. She could be Ons, and then it could be a shootout between her and Coco for that second berth, if you like. It's quite easy to sort of feel as though there's sort of 2 or 3 groups in this bunch of players. And when I say groups, of course, I don't mean 3 groups in terms of there being 3 groups at the WTA finals, but as in like there's kind of an elite bunch of 3 or 4 players that we see as having a really good shot at winning the title. Then there's probably another group below that, and then possibly a third group, which would probably be potentially Jabeur, Vondrousova, and Sakkari in the sort of outsiders clan. But, she could emerge from this group, and then you're in the final 4, and who knows? The one thing that we always have, though, Nick, with these end-of-year finals is we're kind of unsure about the condition of the players. Some players maybe have had plenty of time off, and that might mean they're a bit rusty. I mean, when did we last see Iga? I guess when she won the 1,000 tournament.
Well, won Beijing, yeah.
Yeah,
so
right. She should be fresh and pretty good. Ons, we haven't seen since she got injured a few days after that 1,000. So she's, not played a match since then. I wonder if the Monastir withdrawal was precautionary. Then we've got somebody like Rybakina, who we sort of had good moments and not so good moments in the second half of the season where we just weren't quite sure if she was 100%. I mean, she pulled out of the French Open, right? Through illness, I believe.
3rd round, yeah. That was
right. So she didn't even take the court. It was illness. Yeah. And then we saw her have a sort of a sketchy result of 2, particularly, for example, in Berlin. Wimbledon, she sort of was coming back to her best, but maybe she wasn't quite at it in the 3rd set against Ons. So and there's been question marks about her really since Rome, I would say. So yeah, she's not won a title, I guess, since Rome, which for most players on the WTA tour that would be fine, but for the elite, they want to be winning titles as often as they can, particularly when we look at someone like Coco, who's been tearing it up ever since August, really.
Yeah, let's talk about Rebecca properly later. I think there's a certain level of, you're right, we don't know how fresh players are going to be, where they're at physically. I think most of On's withdrawals were precautionary. I'm not going to hype up the injury for her.
Okay.
But with Vondrousova, and with anything else, I think if you're going to try and predict how healthy a player is, you're not going to have much success. So the best way of looking at it is going, well, if they're healthy, how's it going to work out? We'll see how healthy they are once the matches start, and then we can revise as we go. I think Vondrousova might like, as Miles is mentioning, the random outdoor windy conditions. She's got a game that can cope pretty well with that.
Okay.
As potentially could Ons Jabeur, who is sixth on the list, sixth ranked, and she's also in the same group. They're going to have a rematch. We're going to have a rematch of the Wimbledon final.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Very different conditions, obviously. Very sort of slower hard court, probably, but that's going to be fun to see a bit more kind of tricky players playing each other, and maybe Ons in the conditions might like how crazy it is and unpredictable, because that's what she thrives on. And
yeah, she is someone
she is suffering physically, maybe that's going to help her.
Yeah, she is somebody who can cope with different conditions and that kind of thing. And it's going to be outdoors. It's going to be on the coast. So as you say, the wind may play a factor. I just think of the three players that we've mentioned so far, I think I would be surprised if one of them went on to win. Not as much as I would be if it was a Grand Slam, because as you said before, someone like Sakkari can, just win 2 or 3 matches and suddenly you're almost there. But I just think with 1 or 2 doubts about form and fitness and freshness at this point of the year with these 3 players, and I just think that if Sakkari, for example, right now was to play a one-off match, as she has done on many occasions against a Sabalenka or Swiatek, we don't expect her to win. So to ask somebody such as Sakkari or perhaps Vondrousova or Jabeur to win 5 or at least 4 out of 5 matches against this level opponent is a huge ask.
It depends on how chaotic it is, because I believe Aga Radwanska managed to win the 2015 WTA finals with just 3 wins.
Just 3, exactly. It's possible.
Yeah.
If you're very lucky,
it requires a level of unpredictability and poor consistency from everyone.
If you have a group, just so people in the chat or people tuning in wonder what we're talking about, if you have a group where one person runs away with it, so one person wins all 3 matches, and then the other 3 players all beat each other, that's where you'll have somebody with a 1 victory scenario going through, depending on how many sets I think it is that they win. But generally, it's sort of 2 wins and you're through. But 2 wins could also, there's a permutation where 3 players all win twice and someone takes a beating on every occasion. And then one of those, I think Rafa had that at the ATP finals in 2019, where he won twice, but didn't get to the semifinals because of that exact permutation. But Miles is all here for an unpredictable winner. And it may, I think if it's one of the 3 players we just mentioned, it would fall into the slight surprise, slight unpredictable category from one of those 3. If it's one of the next, like 1 or 2 players, such as a Pegula, you go, yeah, I didn't think she was going to win it, but it does make sense. You've been to the French Open final. Your breakthrough, at least standout result at the beginning of your career, was on grass against Venus. You've been very solid on the hard courts. Is there a slam in particular that you go, I think that's, if I'm going to get one, the first one might come here, there, or where?
Well, I don't know. I mean, everyone, I'm like, I think this is the first one. So I don't know. I mean, obviously now going to the French, I do have a lot of confidence on this surface. But I'm not really thinking about that. I feel like, in the past I was, and it gave me some like defeats that I feel like I shouldn't have lost, maybe more so my head. So going in now, I mean, I feel like, everyone could be the one, but I think I have to just take it a match at a time and just feel it out and enjoy it. I think when you focus too much on the destination, you don't enjoy the journey there. So now I want to focus more on the journey, and if the destination gets there, that's great.
Ready? Play.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Saturday in Talking Tennis Land, aka YouTube Land, aka also a merger of Tuned into Tennis Land. I'm your host for the evening or afternoon or morning, wherever you're listening to this or tuning in from. My name is Miles, and we are underway here in the WTA finals, semifinal stage between world number 3, Coco Gauff, and world number 5, Jessica Pegula, for a spot in the last major women's tennis event of the season. And so far, we are in for what looks like a treat. I mean, this is an interesting dynamic in the match because they're obviously both American. They've played doubles with each other for the past 2 seasons. They get along pretty well, and they're fighting for a very important title. Jessica Pegula is up the early break in this match 2-love, and Coco Gauff is fighting here to hold serve and get on the board. So let's see what happens. It isn't necessarily a like strong rivalry between the two, but they have played twice this year and they've split both meetings. Coco got the win in Eastbourne in their first meeting of the year, and Pegula followed that up a little while later in Montreal en route to her title there, getting the win over Coco. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top today. Hey, Ghosty. Sean Power, you're saying Pegula in 3. I am not in opposition of that. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she takes it in 3. I think this is going to be a tricky match because of the conditions, which we'll get into as the match furthers. I mean, I'm looking here at Coco Gauff going up for her serve to hold here, and her skirt is blowing, her hair is blowing. She's just trying to get the ball in play. So she does hold, by the way, to get on the board at 1-2. Pegula went a little bit long on her forehand down the middle of the court. The wind caught it, and Coco's on the board. Hey, Cynthia. Thanks for hopping over from Twitter land to YouTube land. I appreciate it. We appreciate fervent and engaging subscribers. Speaking of, Cynthia, if you're not subscribed to Talking Tennis, please do so and like this video. It definitely, you know the drill. It helps the channel grow. And we're just talking on tennis spaces or tennis Twitter spaces about like how the WTA specifically could do better in marketing. And this is where Talking Tennis comes in. So the more people around the world that like this video and subscribe to Talking Tennis, the more, in my mind, we can usher in a more modern and exciting wave of people that talk about tennis. So yeah, at least that's my mission. And I feel like the founder of Talking Tennis has that similar mission as well, besides just liking to talk tennis. Where are you guys watching from, by the way? There's some familiar faces in the chat. Hey, Terry, nice to see you too. Always fun engaging with you. You guys let me know where you are watching from. Ghosty, yeah, I actually am kind of rocking the black and gold. The Bears are in NOLA tomorrow. They are. Okay. Well, that means I'm going to have to avoid the busy streets of New Orleans because game days in New Orleans are kind of crazy. Not lately, because the Saints have not been hitting it out of the park or scoring that many touchdowns. But yeah, I guess I am rocking the black and gold. If I get invited to like a Saints party in the near future, I might bring this shirt out again. So we're at 15 all here at 2-1. Pegula serving up a break in the first set. Let's do a little play-by-play action in the middle of this point. Oh, no, not a good place to start. Pegula hit a forehand error. We do have Brad Gilbert in the stands. He's covered up in the wind, supporting Coco, his player. They've been working for the past couple of months. Just Pegula with the first serve. Oh, she would have had an ace if it didn't hit a let. She's going up again for another serve. Another let serve from Pegula. 2 in a row. How often does that happen? Hi, Ashley. Ashley, so on this channel, because of different broadcasting rights and copyright issues, we can't actually show the live footage of the match, but here at Talking Tennis, we watch along with you wherever you can watch on Tennis Channel, ESPN, Eurosport, Sky, Amazon Prime, wherever you're watching, and you can engage and talk to us while we're all watching this wonderful sport together. So yeah, if you can, Ashley, go and check out where you can watch the match If you're in the North American swing of things, then it's probably on Tennis Channel. Other places I'm not as familiar, but yeah, check it out and come back and talk and chat with us. I have to make sure my stream is up to the quickest it can, because I'm seeing 1540 for Coco Gauff, two breakpoint back to get back on serve here in this first set. She's just trying to find her rhythm, which is always hard to do in these conditions. Let's walk through this point. Slow first serve from Pegula, and then she gives a very first ball of the rally error on her forehand wide, gives the break back to Coco. Thank you, Talking Tennis producer, for finding a better scoreboard. We always appreciate due diligence. I think it's SYNC. In sync. I think it's SYNC. Yeah, in sync. Or is that in sync the band? Am I making that up? Whatever. Crafty point here. Coco Gauff pulling out the slice. I haven't seen that in the match yet. She's staying low on these forehands and gets a first ball error from Pegula. 15 love. Did NSYNC just do a like promotional run? Like I feel like I've been seeing them mentioned quite a bit. Maybe they're coming back together for like a reunion tour or dropping a reunion album or something. I'm not the number one fan, but I know a couple songs. We're at 15 all here in this fifth game of the match. Coco Gauff serving just being broken. A lot of people should be running the WTA. I do a great job. Maybe not as a CEO, but like if you need a social media coordinator or a MC for your events, WTA, if you're watching this, my name is Miles and you can contact me. Coco bringing out the slice again in these rallies. Good to see. They're floating a little bit in the wind, but it's a different changeup as a tactic in the match for sure. Standard rally here, backhand to Coco's backhand to Pegula forehand, and then Coco shanks the forehand as I was just giving it some compliment. It's like she was trying to put some air underneath it and just shanked it. 15-30 here on Coco's serve. Thanks, guys. I think I'd be a good MC. I appreciate that. Thanks, Terry. They're showing the stat here on Tennis Channel that Pegula has won 58% of her games while returning, which is a really great stat. Like anything above 50 when you're returning, when you're not even the person with the advantage, it's really a good stat. All right, looks like we're coming back to Coco starting this service game off poorly, and now she has 2 break points. She shanked 2 forehands to get us here, and now she's defending off 2 break points at 15-40. That she can come up with a good serve. Nope. Second serve. These conditions are so blustery. Definitely trying to put some air underneath that forehand and seeing if Pegula's going to miss. Pegula ventures into the net, and Coco passes her with a really, really good forehand. Not a great approach, but Pegula did try to be the aggressor there. Gauff just passed her. Yeah, she didn't panic on that approach shot, or that passing shot, rather. Nice little fist pump to end that point to save off a break point. One more. Let's see what she can come up with. I haven't seen her really go for a big serve yet in this match. Let's see if she goes for one here. Tried too long into the body. Second serve incoming. She's trying to bide her time with the wind just completely wreaking havoc. Second serve into the middle of the box. Standard rally. keeping the balls inside the court. Pegula slicing it. Coco Gauff backhand down the line. Try to get the advantage in this point. She comes in on a forehand. Tries to put a drop volley over the net, and it's too short. Break Pegula. Pegula breaks again and leads 3-2 in this opening set. 17 minutes in. Are you guys enjoying the WTA finals in Cancun? I say that tongue in cheek just to kind of start the conversation about the conditions, but I can't think of a more lackluster WTA final since I've been watching tennis. But I'm a tennis fan through and through, and these are some good matchups, I have to say. Coco Gauff versus Pegula is a top 3 matchup, as is the next semifinal later on this evening, weather permitting. Swiatek and Sabalenka. All 3 of the 4 semifinalists have all won majors this year, and Pegula has been a consistent top 10 player for the past 2 seasons. So not a bad matchup. Wish they had more support in the stands, because it, like, the 4,000 or so seat stadium that they built last week to accommodate the competition has been pretty much empty. But we're here digitally. We're supporting the Women's Tennis Association digitally, aren't we? Aren't we, people of talking tennis? That's a step in the right direction. Ghosty says, I'm not. The endless rain delays are a bummer. Yeah, they are a bummer, especially when you are watching a platform like Tennis Channel, which shows you tennis all over the world. You go from like rainy, blowy, windy conditions in Cancun to complete indoor perfectness in Paris on the ATP side. So yeah, that juxtaposition isn't helping this week as far as being excited for the tennis. Let's see if Pegula can consolidate another break, or if Gauff fights back. 15-love in this game. Pegula serving. First ball toss going up. She misses into the net. Second serve incoming. Looper in the box that Coco just mistimes and gives her a free error on the return. It's so interesting because I've watched a bunch of Coco's matches this week, and she hasn't looked amazing in any of them. Like, I know she won 6-0, 6-1 over Ons Jabeur, but her backhand is the thing that's actually been kind of off time for me this week, which is usually the side on her ground strokes that is the tightest and most reliable. But she's given away 3 straight easy points to Pegula here. 40-love for Pegula to hold. Misses another first serve. She's trying to be aggressive and hit through on that forehand, but it's just not consistent. She's still in this point. She's drawn into the net by Pegula and completely bricks the volley. It looks like the wind kind of caught that ball before she hit it, or before she hit the volley, but she also kind of got jammed up in her feet. And yeah, that was a poor game from Coco. But I mean, literally on the replay, it's showing you how the wind is taking the slices and going everywhere. Yeah, this is exactly why I pegged. I thought Pegula was going to win this match in the tournament, especially once I saw opening day conditions. I just figured Pegula would be way too steady in the conditions to kind of to lose. Really, everyone else plays with a lot of spin and large stroke production. Like Sabalenka has large stroke production on her forehand. Swiatek can be a little bit more compact, but she plays with so much spin and has an extreme grip, so that wind is definitely not her friend all the time. And then Coco has an extreme grip and production on her forehand, so the wind is not necessarily her best friend either. Pegula plays pretty much straight up linear compact tennis. So yeah, this is serving her good in the tournament. She hasn't lost a match, and she's up 4-2 in this match. So yeah. And she knows Coco's patterns too. They've played doubles for the past 2 years. I'm sure they practice together. So she's playing somebody that she's comfortable with in conditions that kind of sort of suit her in a way and suit her temperament. And yeah, she's excelling. Coco Gauff here at 30 love in this 2-4 game, trying to keep it close. A double fault. Yeah. Not a great 5 or so minutes from Coco. Mistiming some returns, some easy errors at the net, a double fault. She's up 30-15 in this game, though, but she definitely needs to make this a crucial hole to stay within distance of Pegula. Pegula with a nice deep return. Coco loops it back on her forehand. Coco steadily putting more air, almost moonballing like Krejcikova a little bit. In the 1 forehand, she tries to accelerate and take early in the middle of the court. She dumps inside the net. You can tell she's frustrated. 30 all. Big point here. Coco serving 2-4, 30 all. Seems like the set is in a little bit of the balance if she gets broken here. It'll definitely be hard to come back from 2-5 down than 3-4. That's a whole different score line. Big point here. 30 all, 2-4. Misses the first serve. Let's see what she does with this second serve, Coco. Decent kick serve down the tee. Chooses a forehand to come in on down the middle of the court. Oh, wow. Wow. She actually makes the best of a really not amazing approach shot, but uses her athleticism to knock away a smash volley and get to 40-30. Yeah, I don't think she's that comfortable off the forehand wing, so I don't hate the idea of taking a ball that you see in the middle of the court and approaching to kind of limit the ground stroke mistakes. She kind of mishit that smash, but she's so athletic that it went over anyway, so not a bad idea, especially in this wind, to just cut out all the ground strokes and go straight to the net. She's trying to work with something here. And she mistimes the backhand way over the baseline, and we're at deuce. Ghosty's asking, is that a strategy in Cancun? Get the ball up and make the opponent deal with the ball in the wind? I would, yeah. If it was windy and I wanted my opponent to be just as annoyed as I would definitely throw in some loopers. I wouldn't stray away from what my strengths are, but like if things got tight or I wanted to ask my opponent different questions, I would put that play in as a tactic. Yeah. Pegula just hit another backhand down the line to bring up another break point. She's created 35 breakpoint chances throughout this tournament that ranks her 1 amongst all the players. That's crazy. 35 breakpoint chances in 3 matches and now a 4th match as well. Coco defending breakpoint, second serve incoming. Ooh, she got away with a close one there, but keeps it in play. Pegula's hitting backhands in the middle of the court. Hits a deep forehand. Coco with another loopy forehand that pushes Pegula back. Another Coco backhand, a little short. They're trying to be steady here. Coco has a big backhand down the line that she accelerates on, and Pegula can't get it back. Saves a break point. Yeah, that was one of the better shots I've seen her hit in the middle of the court that she accelerated on and took Pegula out of the court. She's really doing something with that forehand loop up the line and pushing Pegula back. Pegula is at her best when she can do more linear things with the ball. She doesn't produce that much spin, so a big ball, looping ball that pushes her back kind of forces her to produce a lot of spin to loop it back into the court, and that's not her strength. So maybe Coco's onto something here, especially in these conditions. We're back to deuce. She's serving. Nice slice serve out wide. Pegula creates an angle, has Gauff on the run. And Coco tries to redirect the backhand down the line and misses in the net. Another break point for Pegula. Terry, you're asking, did Brad get rid of Reba? I don't think it played out that way. Reba's no longer, Reba is no longer on the Coco Gauff team, but it seemed like it was a personal and family matter decision on his end that made him have to step away from certain reports I've been reading. So yeah. It seems like in her coaching corner this whole week, it's only been Brad Gilbert and her hitting partner, Jameer Jenkins, who used to work with Serena. So that's it in her camp this far, outside of like families and like other people in the entourage. Pegula just broke, by the way, to go up 5-2. Coco tried to navigate that game and do some different things, but ultimately she just wasn't steady enough, and Pegula took advantage. So Pegula will be serving for the set at 5-2 when we get back from commercial here on my end. You guys, I have a banana nut muffin that you guys can't see in screen. Is it okay if I just take a bite of it? Like, I'm hungry, and I'm probably going to be here for the rest of the evening because I want to see the Pegula and Sabalenka match too. So, not Pegula, sorry, Swiatek and Sabalenka match. We're just going to take a small bite. I've been told before that I chew funny, so I'm a tad bit insecure about it. But what trumps all of that insecurity is me liking food. So I'm going to eat. Marcus, really? I can't give myself sustenance. Ghosty, you'd be surprised what you hear on dates sometimes. Well, have I been told that on a date? I think I have, actually. I'm an interesting character. Me chewing funny is like only one of the layers. All right, we're back in Cancun. Pegula serving at 5-2, trying to consolidate a good opening set for her. Puts in a good first serve. Coco takes a nice wallop on it on the forehand. Love 15. That's a good point about a pen and paper on a date. Although it kind of be weird in today's day and age. You can just use the notes app on your phone if you're like trying to keep notes. I don't know. Pegula puts in a double fault, so a little bit of an opening for Coco to get back in this set. Love 30. Oh, I'm so behind the live score on screen. Gotta do better, Miles. We get to 15-30 with the loose forehand from Coco. There's moments in this match alone where her forehand looks like it's steady, and then the next point it's not. So it's a little bit all over the place with Coco right now. She's still swinging though. I have to give her credit. She's still swinging. She's not doing the slicey dicey, just get it over the net thing. So she's kind of dictating the point right now with the forehand in the middle of the court. Pegula gets it over the backhand, and that's where she makes an error. That's interesting. She's making backhand errors too, and that's usually the side that is so steady. Like, I'm kind of used to the forehand having ebbs and flows, but the backhand shanking and missing in the bottom of the net, I'm not used to that. And she misses another one to set up a set point for Pegula. That backhand was like, it wasn't super deep from Pegula. It was in the middle of the court, and she just kind of got tangled up in her legs, and the backhand went in the bottom of the net. That's so weird. Set point for Pegula. And Coco takes the forehand return long. First set to Pegula, 6-2 in the WTA finals, semifinal matchup, semifinal number 1. I believe Pegula is on a streak at the moment. She's won 50 matches when winning the first set. I believe. I have to check. I have to fact check that. I know she had a conversation at the Tennis Channel analyst desk earlier this week in Cancun, and they brought it up that she was at like 48 or 49, and she said that she wanted to get to 50 and then stop worrying about it. So I think she's at 50. I think if she wins this match in straight sets, or if she wins this match period, actually, now that she's won the first set, she will be at like 51 matches in a row after winning the first set. Not bad at all. Pegula's actually had a very consistent season. She's played producer. You may have to like look through my tweets, but I tweeted this not long ago, yesterday actually, that Pegula has played 22 events this year. And that's including Billie Jean King Cup and United Cup in Australia to begin the year. She's only failed to make the quarterfinals at an event 6 times. And if I remember correctly in the tweet, and I was looking at her numbers and stuff for the year, um, there weren't that many tournaments where she where she didn't compete in the quarterfinals. So let's see. You know what? Instead of while I look that information up, let's take a break and have a little promo vid from our producers here at Talking Tennis, and then I'll have another bite of my muffin, and we'll get back into the match. How about that? There we go. So if you guys didn't see that really quick promo video that I made, actually, in addition to being an MC and a host, I'm a great digital content creator. Oh, going through my tweets is so funny in live format. That's so funny. But yeah, Pegula has won a lot of matches this year, and she's gotten to the quarterfinals or better at all but 6 events this year, which is great. That's how you get to WTA finals. And if she wins the WTA finals, it'll be the biggest trophy in her trophy cabinet. So she's my pick. I'm team Coco like 98% of the time, but Pegula looks good. It's so funny seeing my tweets in real time. If you guys have been watching some tennis this year, or not this year, sorry, came out wrong. If you guys have been watching tennis this week, you would know that in addition to the women playing the WTA finals in Cancun, the men are in Paris playing the last Masters 1000 event of the season before they start their ATP final in Yearning Championship in 2 weeks or so. So yeah, not this week coming up, but the week after that, I believe, is the ATP finals. And the final in Paris indoors has been set. It's Novak Djokovic, who I believe is a 6-time champion, going for his 7th, against Grigor Dimitrov, who's in his first ATP Masters 1000 final in quite a while. He hasn't won a single title on the ATP tour since 2017, so he's going up against basically the master of Paris to add one more title to his resume. So we'll see how that goes. Djokovic is a heavy favorite, but if you ever heard me talk about tennis, you know I'm not rooting for him. Go Grigor Dimitrov. By the way, while I was yapping my gums, Coco got broken to open up the second set, and Pegula's trying to consolidate that. Not great stuff from Coco here. Not great stuff at all, really. But I have to say, she's fought to get to this part in the match. She's won 2 out of her 3 round robin matches, and she deserves to be here. It's just not necessarily the most elite performance from her so far. But it's sport. They have to keep playing, and we'll see what happens. Hey Max, yeah, this is definitely not Coco's best level so far. What are we, like half an hour or so, 45 minutes or so into the match? She's had good moments, but overall it's been very, very choppy and inconsistent. Max, you heard that it's a very windy night in Cancun. It's progressively gotten more windy and windy every day since I've been watching. So yeah, not great stuff. And Pegula's playing solid. She's not really pressing. She's not. I mean, she normally doesn't go for lines and stuff like that. But the forehand she just hit to set up 40-15. She is just playing within herself. She's not overextending herself even in very annoying conditions. And she just hit a ace to close out the set. That was only 167 kilometers per hour, and Coco barely moved. So hopefully we're not getting the pouty Coco, because that's not fun to watch. But I also couldn't be. I would understand being pouty too if I had worked my behind off to qualify for the WTA finals and got to Cancun playing in a makeshift stadium. I would be a little perturbed as well. But you know, hey, I don't. This is why I'm not a professional tennis player, and I talk about it. I don't play it. So. Hi, Catherine. Yeah, the wind and the rain has been atrocious this week. Sean is saying Pegula has been good all week. I'm not surprised. I'm right there with you, Sean. We're looking at rain, people. I looked up for my lovely banana nut muffin, and I saw a screen full of rain, and now Pegula and Coco are walking to their benches. Umbrellas are coming out, and it doesn't look like play is going to happen for a little while. They haven't escorted the players off the court yet, but we'll see if that happens. At least we got a full set underway before it rained again. Oh, you guys ever have that moment where you like hear a police siren and you're not sure if it's in your immediate your area or like on television? I have to just do one of those things. Yeah, it's definitely in Cancun because it's not it's not my house. I was like, what did I do? Why are the police here? So we're going to see, guys, what happens with this weather situation. They haven't escorted the players off the court. They're going to see if it's just a quick little sprinkle of rain. They have the players on court under their umbrellas, taking a time to kind of reassess the situation. But we'll see. Any fun talking tennis videos, maybe from our adventures in Monastir, that we could show in the meantime? Coco Gauff, a U.S. Open champion. That's what I'm talking about. Oh my God. Look at her. Look at her. Oh. Oh.
Get up, Coco Gauff. You just won the U.S. Open.
I go slice. This is normal flat. But see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. And now here I go slice. This is normal flat. But see, sometimes you don't actually. Sometimes you don't. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Hey guys, it looks like the officials are in conversation about what to do next. There's some ball boys and girls wiping some of the lines on the court, but until they get everything officially back underway in Cancun, we're going to take a break. And when play resumes, we'll be back in action because I'm enjoying talking to you guys and I'm enjoying this match so far. Coco Gauff versus Jessica Pegula in the middle of the second set. Pegula up a set in 2-love, and we're at a rain delay. So I will be back with more action when action resumes.
Does do well, it might be because she benefits from something like I'm just thinking of other players in the tournament rather than her draw, but something like Swiatek. Sorry, not Swiatek. Jabeur, I think, has to be a doubt in terms of injuries. We'll come to her shortly. So maybe Sakkari, if she's fit and firing, might benefit from one or two other circumstances. You mentioned the Mexico factor. You mentioned the fact, I think she did okay last year in Texas, right? Did she get to the semis in?
Yeah, she did.
Worth?
I thought she was looking really good last year. Like,
yeah,
she was unbeaten in her group, and then she got
she
surprised
won
by
all three of
Garcia
her
a little
group
bit, who I
matches.
think had got woken up by Daria Kasatkina.
Yeah, she won all three of her group matches then last year, did she?
Yeah, she
lost
did.
last year, yeah, just looking at her results. So, I mean, and she won the three without dropping a set. So, bearing in mind the level of opponent, so I'm just sharing her results on the screen from last year. You know, she beat Sabalenka, Jabeur, and Pegula all in straight sets. I mean, arguably, the Sabalenka win is the one that stands out the most. But
Yeah, given Sabalenka came close to winning the
Sabalenka went on
tournament
to get
and the
the
way she
final.
beat Iga.
Yeah, Sabalenka went on to get to the final because she won the semi-final against Iga, as you said. You would imagine that Sakkari is the outsider, though, in terms of the 8. I'm just wondering about who does she begin her tournament against in the WTA final. She's got Rybakina. So again, what condition is Rybakina in? We've seen her have an up and down second half of the season, Elena. So that'll be interesting. She's got Pegula and Sabalenka. Yeah, it's a tough.
Here's another thing about Sakkari, because I've just looked at her 2021 performance, and she got through to the semi-finals in her group stage as well. Like semi-finals, she won. She came second in her group. She beat Sabalenka in 3 and Swiatek, albeit a very kind of much more subdued Swiatek, in her group, and lost to Badosa, and then narrowly lost to Kontaveit in the semis. So very similar sort of performance back-to-back years. Sort of she definitely seems to bring it when it comes to the WTA finals.
Yeah, I mean, it's a different kind of pressure. I mean, Sabalenka Sabalenka, I'm getting names muddled up. Sabalenka and Iga will have a particular pressure because there's the world number 1 on the line. But somebody like Sakkari can just feel free, you know? She can just. I'm not predicting a Sakkari win, by the way. As I said, I think she's the outside of her reason. I think she probably won't emerge from the group. I do think there are one or two asterisks behind. Not asterisks, wrong word, but one or two caveats to recall from some of these matches. I think Sabalenka a year later is a different beast. Rybakina is there this year, and if she's healthy, which is a question mark, then I imagine those two would be the favourites to emerge from this group. And Sakkari's head-to-head outside of this tournament against the big ones, she does sort of have a semi-final problem for a reason. It's because she ends up running into an Iga or a Sabalenka or something like that. And I think Sabalenka now is a comfortable favorite, at least when she's playing Maria.
Yeah, I mean, look, Sabalenka's gonna wanna get rid of any kind of run she's had, because she's now like she's lost to Sakkari in the last 2 WTA finals. So that's not a good record. She's definitely going to turn it around. She's going to be good enough. But I agree with your assessment. Sakkari is the outsider in the group, but I don't think we should write her off. But I think she's got a tougher ask compared to everyone else.
Yeah. I mean, you look at the groups and you go, "Wow, that's a tough group," but it's the top 8 players in the world from this year, with the exception of Mukova. So they're all going to be tough, really.
Yeah. All right. Let's look at someone else who's maybe got a slight, like the other lower ranked player in the group, and that is Marketa Vondrousova, who is the 7th seed. 7th ranked player. She's in the group with Swiatek, Gauff, and Jabeur. Arguably, given the players in that group, she has a decent chance. I think she's got a reasonable chance, more of a reasonable chance of pulling off an upset, because she's not against someone who can. Not many players in that group are going to overpower her. So she has the opportunity to make things a bit tricky and pull off some surprises. So I think she's got a better prospect than compared to Sakkari, only because of how the groups kind of fell. Obviously the Wimbledon champion this year, and she's coming here to prove that she belongs in this sort of elite 8.
Yeah. When I was just moving on there from Sakkari, I had a feeling you were going to obviously come to Vondrousova next, because she probably is again a slight outsider. But you're right, that group. You would think that Iga would have enough to win 2 of her 3 matches, which is basically what it takes to qualify. There is a permutation where you can win 1 and go through, and there's also a permutation where you win 2 and not go through. But 2 should be enough, and I think 2 out of 3 victories is well within Iga's grasp. Then it's kind of the other 3 players. I think Ons, as I say, must be big question marks regarding her health. And Marketa seems to be fine health-wise. She could be Ons, and then it could be a shootout between her and Coco for that second berth, if you like. It's quite easy to sort of feel as though there's sort of 2 or 3 groups in this bunch of players. And when I say groups, of course, I don't mean 3 groups in terms of there being 3 groups at the WTA finals, but as in like there's kind of an elite bunch of 3 or 4 players that we see as having a really good shot at winning the title. Then there's probably another group below that, and then possibly a 3rd group, which would probably be potentially Jabeur, Vondrousova, and Sakkari in the sort of outsiders clan. But, she could emerge from this group, and then you're in the final 4, and who knows? The one thing that we always have, though, Nick, with these end-of-year finals is we're kind of unsure about the condition of the players. Some players maybe have had plenty of time off, and that might mean they're a bit rusty. I mean, when did we last see Iga? I guess when she won the 1,000 tournament.
Well, won Beijing, yeah.
Yeah,
so
right. She should be fresh and pretty good. Ons, we haven't seen since she got injured a few days after that 1,000. So she's, not played a match since then. I wonder if the Monastir withdrawal was precautionary. Then we've got somebody like Rybakina, who we sort of had good moments and not so good moments in the second half of the season, where we just weren't quite sure if she was 100%. I mean, she pulled out of the French Open, right? Through illness, I believe.
3rd round, yeah. That was
right. So she didn't even take the court. It was illness. Yeah. And then we saw her have a sort of a sketchy result of 2.
Hey guys, welcome back into the WTA Finals semifinal match between Coco Gauff and Jessica Pegula. Pegula is up a set in 2-love. They just had about a 15-minute or so rain delay, which has been part of the course here in Cancun, but players started up. The players did not need to warm back up with each other, and Coco is trying to hold here to get on the board in the second set. She has 2 game points after she gets a little lucky with the swinging volley that just hits the tape and dribbles over the other side. So she has 2 game points to get on the board in the second set. It hasn't been a magnificently played match from either player, really, and the conditions are definitely part of the reason. But Coco Gauff has had a handful of errors on her forehand side and her backhand side. She's thrown in some double faults, and Pegula has just been the steadier player. She's been using different parts of the court, not going for too much, even kind of baiting Coco into the net. And yeah, she's definitely been the more solid player for the duration of this match. But Coco Gauff just hits a slice serve out on the outer parts of the court. Why did I stumble on that? And Pegula couldn't get it. So now she's on the board, 2-1. Ghosty is saying if one of the WTA stars gets injured because of the damp surface, it will trigger a justifiable uproar. Yeah, that would not be fun. Yeah, I definitely don't want to see that. Anytime I think about, should I say this and put this in the I've already done it. Anytime I think about like a very bad injury, my mind goes back to Mary Pierce and how she injured her uh ACL, MCL, something of that nature in her knee. I think this was way back in 2006 in Linz, and I just think about that because she um howled in pain. And I'm not sure it was a court issue because it was indoors. She just may have kind of got tied up in her feet. And injuries do happen amongst athletes, especially at this level. But yeah, you never want to see that. You never want to see anything like David Goffin a couple years ago. He was playing a Roland Garros, I believe, and he was too far back into the court and like tripped over an advertising sign. We've seen people get tripped up over tarps and stuff. Like it just needs to be as efficient as possible for players to play at this level. If you're just joining us and are not familiar with my voice or my face, my name is Miles, and I'm a part of the commentary and hosting team here at Talking Tennis. We would love if you could subscribe and like this video and share it with a friend as well. We are dangerously close from 3,600 followers. Is that, if I'm doing my math right? Yeah, I think we're dangerously close to 3,600 followers. So it would be nice if you could bump us up. Oh yeah, Ghosty. Bethany Maddox Sands did make a terrible noise in Wimbledon that year. Yeah. Is Boris Becker's tweet making a soccer reference? Is FC Bayern and BVB, are those soccer teams? Okay, gotcha. Pegula is serving to consolidate her break here at 2-1, by the way. Oh, at least there's enough people in the stands for the chair umpire to make a announcement about flash photography. See, people do care about women's tennis. You just have to market it. Roy Brown, where are you watching from? I asked that earlier, way earlier in the stream, but I don't think you were watching. I haven't even made notice of this or mention of this throughout the whole match. But Pegula's shoulder, her left shoulder is strapped. It's not necessarily heavy, but it's, it's a couple of rounds of kinesio tape, but it doesn't seem to be stopping her any which way, especially in these conditions. She just baited Coco again into the net, and Coco could definitely work on like transition game when she's not the aggressor, but she just got a volley deep at her feet and couldn't put it over. 40-15 for Pegula. Another good serve down the tee. Coco gets it back. Trying to loop some more forehands, Coco is, and just keep them in the court. A short one from Coco on the forehand, and she just goes just wide on that put away shot. Hold from Pegula, 3-1. She's definitely in full command of this match. Does anybody watching keep up with the Women's Tennis Association 125K level or the challenger level for women's tennis? There was a challenger going on this week in Midland, Michigan, called the Dow Tennis Classic. I think it's been going on for quite a while now. If I look back at the past, maybe the last 3 years or so. Maybe I shouldn't say quite a while. But anyway, it's indoors in Midland, Michigan, and the final was just set up about an hour or two ago. It's going to be Anna Kalinskaya, who's kind of on the comeback trail. She hasn't played too much tennis since the French Open. She beat resident indoor specialist Alicia Parks in 3 sets in the semifinals today. And Yana Fett of, I believe, Croatia fame. I believe Yana Fett is from Croatia. She beat Emma Navarro in 3 sets. So it'll be Yana Fett versus Anna Kalinskaya for the 125K title in Midland, Michigan tomorrow. I'm not even sure where you can watch that, if you can even catch a stream of it. But it's interesting tennis to have on the back burner. Coco Gauff down love 30 again in this game, a place she's all too familiar with in this match. Definitely trying to pace herself with the wind in her serve. Oh, and hits a double fault. Not helped at all by the top of the tape here. That's been the story so far. Double faults, forehand errors, backhand errors. Not necessarily glittering tennis from Coco Gauff, U.S. Open champion right now. She loops in a slow first serve just to start the point and gets an error from Pegula, actually. 15-40. This is a very niche thing, by the way. But has anybody ever played with Coco Gauff's racket? It's called the Head Boom. She's one of only 2 players that I can think of in tennis that endorse that racket. Her and Lorenzo Musetti. If you ever played or demoed it, let me know. Not great stuff from Coco. Another error. Another break of serve. Her second of this set. Coco Gauff is in command. Coco Gauff is not in commanding position of this match. Jessica Pegula is in commanding position, up a set in 4-1. All right, let's see what you guys have been talking about in the chat. Ghosty, this was the first time I've ever heard of Midland, Michigan. Let me see where it is in Michigan. Let's look that up. That's important for me to now know. I've never been, but I'll tell you why I brought that up in the first place, actually. Midland, Michigan is it looks like a hop, skip, and a jump away from Saginaw, Michigan. And if you are a fan of the GOAT, you know why Saginaw, Michigan is a place of importance. And Midland looks like it's about an hour or so plus away from Detroit. So, yeah. If you're ever in the Detroit area of Michigan or the Ann Arbor area, take a little drive to Midland and you can see some what's another word for elite but not quite elite? Some high level of tennis on the WTA tour. I brought up 125Ks because one, I want to see that upper class is a good word, upper class tennis. I want to see that whole entire landscape be improved, I think that would definitely help what's going on in women's tennis, because it would definitely have an entire uh ecosystem of what to look forward to as far as up and coming players, or players that uh maybe hovering around the top 100 that are just looking for one big breakthrough. And to be honest, there are people in the tennis landscape who are honestly more fans of the ATP Challenger Tour, which is that level of not quite elite, but working towards it, or using the best of what you have to be well at professional tennis. Because there's some people who use Challenger Tour as kind of what it's for, and use it as a stepping stone, and other people kind of use that circuit to compete, because that's where their level kind of finds them at regularly. And the WTA doesn't really have that whole system flushed out, and the 125K is their best example of that. So I guess I want to see more of those tournaments and put them in more like accessible areas for people to watch. And I'd love to go to one day, actually. You guys are having a conversation about the players unionizing and putting together their shared grievances to try to get better, especially on the WTA tour, given everything that's going on in Cancun. Roy Brown says, and there was many other tournaments that had issues, late night, early mornings, next day finishes, but all they did was complain, boycott. Yeah, a strike or a boycott is effective, and I think it might unfortunately be effective in this situation as well, because like I was saying about an hour or two ago on Twitter Spaces that I host sometimes. Excuse me. Um, this is a two-way street for like the association and the athletes. The association needs the athletes, and the athletes need the association. Unfortunately, the association seems to be failing the athletes, and the athletes, um it seems like the women athletes are trying to facilitate a better experience for the tour that they play tennis on, because it is a lot to ask of athletes to literally travel all 6 inhabitable continents for 10 months of the year routinely, maybe 11 or 12 months of the year, and provide a level of entertainment and money to you. But then in premier levels like a WTA finals, where we're supposed to be celebrated and put up on a very high pedestal, and not even feel like we're being taken care of. And I feel like that's where the players are kind of announcing their disrespect. So yeah, I feel the players, but unfortunately for them to continue to play tennis, they need a functioning association. But that association is not going to thrive if the players are unhappy. So there just needs to be some mediation and better organization on both fronts. It could absolutely be a better, well-oiled machine, and it's just not right now. There's marketing issues, there's administrative issues, there's prize money issues. There's just issues on the WTA tour. Just issues. Another issue in this match between Pegula and Coco Gauff is the issue of rain. Um, they've stopped here at 30 all. Pegula serving at 4-1, and there's some more sprinkles on the court. They haven't left the court yet or walked to their benches. They're trying to see if it's going to pass. The chair umpire is out on the court trying to do her due diligence, but everybody's ultimately up to the mercy of Mother Nature. So one thing I do, one thing that comes to mind when I see moments like this, and it's just been exacerbated because of the conditions in Cancun, but why are we still in an era in 2023 when, in my mind, just rock with me here, I thought that we would be like all rolling around on like hover cars and like not needing gasoline and having like smart homes. And in some ways we do, but in other ways we don't. And one of the ways that we don't is the fact that we still have ball kids with regular towels drying the lines anytime it rains. Like, where is the amazingly talented and brilliant designer and what do you call people that come up with things? There's a word that's on the tip of my tongue. Design, but I can't think of the word. Founder, designer, um, like people that made very, very critical things to our livelihood. Like, oh, inventor. Where's the inventor of a function that could better be served to clear tennis courts of rain besides a towel and a foot? Like, where are we? Inventor, engineer. Yes, thanks Vegas Dev. Thanks Ghosty. Like, where are we? Why do we not have that invention yet? Why are we like literally taking our feet and dragging it across the court with a towel? They've been doing the same thing since the invention of towels and feet. Like, it's time for us to elevate. Man, tennis. Okay, now the players are sitting at their benches. The umbrellas are definitely out in the crowd, and it doesn't look like play is going to be happening for the immediate future again in this match. I mean, we're in Cancun, folks, in the middle of tropical storm, or kind of end of tropical storm season. October, November is notoriously a rainy place in this part of the world, and we're dealing with it. Pegula's still up a set in 4-1. This has definitely been a headache of a tournament, but we love tennis. This is the life we've chosen. I'm speaking for all of us here, whether you're like a fair weather fan or tuned into tennis like I am. We love it, and we could be doing anything else on our Saturday evening, but here we are watching women's tennis, and we're supporting. Sean, or a temporary makeshift roof. I'm not an inventor, FYI. Well, yeah. I mean, if they wanted to host a premier women's tennis event in Cancun where the top 8 in the world are competing, Cancun probably wouldn't have been my first choice because it's a resort area. I don't hear many people that like live in Cancun, nor do I hear people that like think of Cancun as a Tennessee city, but you could make it happen if you give enough time to market the whole event. And if you wanted to have it in this particular time frame, you need to host it in an event that either has a retractable roof or is completely indoors. Like, it could have been worked out, but when you wait until the year of or 2 months before, you're left with a makeshift stadium in the middle of tropical season Cancun where it rains 16 out of 30 days. Like, a joke, a circus. I think circuses actually are administrated a little better. They're probably organized. Circuses are organized chaos. WTA is just chaos. Derek is asking, is this the worst WTA finals in history? I can confidently say it's the worst one I've watched. Yeah. They used to be hard to watch, actually, because Tennis Channel didn't always have coverage, and ESPN darn sure didn't always have coverage. So it was kind of spotty to watch. But yeah, this is a circus. And I didn't think they could do much worse than last year, but oh boy, have they outdone themselves. They must have made it a mission to be like, how low can we go? Let's see. Let's see how low we can go before the players actually give us an immense amount of backlash. I mean, players have been on record in the media rooms, in transcripts, saying flat out, these courts suck. I'm pretty sure either Von Drusev or Ange Jabeur said this sucks. Like, that's not, you do not want a top 10 player, a Grand Slam champion, a Grand Slam finalist talking about how much your environment and conditions suck at your premier event. So the official Cancun Twitter account just tweeted, thank you. Thank you for what? Let's go check that out. WTA finals. Do I want to be sarcastic? That circus tent would keep the rain away. It would. It would. Wait, Cancun has an official Twitter account? Okay, now I found it. Oh, that looks like the Guadalajara Twitter account. It says WTA Guadalajara, but then it also says the official account for the WTA Finals Cancun 2023. Oh, WTA. Oh, WTA. Hey, Jossip. Is it raining in Australia? Like there's the official WTA Twitter account, then there's the official WTA Finals. Like that's the tag WTA Finals, and that Twitter bio says home of the GNP Seguros WTA Year-End Championships. And then you go to the WTA Guadalajara, which has itself been a WTA 1000 the past 2 seasons, and that's they also say they're the official account of the WTA Finals Cancun 2023. A blunder, a blunder. But I could see the mix-up though, because Anastasia is bringing up a good point. The family that originally, like you gotta follow this whole timeline. The family and company in Mexico that originally bailed out the WTA back in 2021. Because if you remember, to set the scene, in 2018, the WTA signed a contract to host their WTA finals in Shenzhen, China from 2019 to 2028. Of course, the pandemic happened in 2020. Some tournaments are off the calendar. And unfortunately, one of the tournaments that did not get put back on the calendar when play resumed was the WTA finals in Shenzhen that year. In between 2020 and 2021, there was a whole movement to not go back to compete in China because of the disappearance of Peng Shuai. That's a whole nother element into this, but they did not want to hold the WTA finals in China in 2021 because of that issue and also COVID. So the tournament organizers in Mexico put on the WTA finals in Guadalajara in 2021. If you guys know this story, just bear with me. I'm just putting it out there for those that may not know. In 2021, they held the WTA finals in Guadalajara. The same company that put together this event in Cancun did that one, but it went off a lot better. There wasn't as much of an issue with conditions and rain, and they got a really good turnout because Guadalajara is more of it's less of a resort city, and it's a space that just was itching to support women's tennis. Muguruza won it in 2021. It was a great last minute option that not everyone complained about. Fast forward to 2022, WTA Finals comes around. There still was no announcement of where they were going to host the event again until after the US Open, 6 or 7 weeks before the event was supposed to start. And they chose to play it in Fort Worth, Texas at the Dickies Arena. Almost no one showed up. It did not feel like a big event. Garcia won that one. And they said it was only a temporary fix for a long-term search for a venue. Fast forward to here we are now. There's still no official venue announced until after the US Open. Insert Cancun, and now we have this debacle. So it's been 4 sketchy years in a row where the WTA finals has not been on sure footing, and the players now are rightfully so fed up. And this is, I would say, comfortably the worst edition of the WTA finals that I've been watching in the 15 years that I've been watching tennis. So yeah, it does all of that to say the bright spot seems like the rain has passed for a little while, and they're out there with their towels trying to dry the lines. Pegula's moving around, Coco's moving around trying to stay warm, and we may be getting back into competition in the next couple of minutes or so. So stand by. Thank you, Raul. Sometimes I feel like I'm talking too much, but I always know that there's somebody's watching that may need an explanation. So thank you. Catherine said, didn't the Czech Republic offer to host for 3 years would be a great choice? I'm not 100% sure about the 3 years offer, but I do know Ostrava, a city in the Czech Republic, was definitely on the short list of places to go for this year's WTA finals, and they chose not to, in short, because of the Russian and Belarusian war on Ukraine, and Arina Sabalenka, world number 1, being Belarusian, that she may have had issues getting into the country. I'm not sure how true that was, but that was the feedback that the players on the WTA board have given about why they chose Cancun over different options. So, and I believe Cancun offered a bigger prize money pool, so that's why they went with it. But there's also reasons why this was a terrible idea. So, and then the Czech Republic would have been a great place because there's doubles representation from players of Czech descendants, and there's also singles players. Marketa Vondrousova, the reigning Wimbledon champion, is from the Czech Republic, represents that country. So there would have been a turnout, I believe, to support the event for those two reasons, and we wouldn't have had to deal with rain or wind or anything like that. So yeah, hindsight is 2020, but I'm sure somebody's wishing they could have voted for Ostrava over Cancun. Anyway, the players are ready to go at 30 all here in this 4-1 game. No warm up because it was less than a 15 or 20-minute delay, and we're back in action. And right off the bat, Coco hits a backhand to Pegula that skids off the line, and she creates a break point for herself. 4-1, 30-40, Pegula serving. Joseph says, bring it to Australia. It hardly rains here. I would not be upset at that at all. It's a goal of mine to get to Australia. So, oh, that was a terrible return from Coco Gauff in one of the few breakpoint opportunities she's had. The ball basically bounced before it got to the net when she strung on the forehand. Mm. We're at deuce. Pegula puts a good first serve in. Coco's trying to accelerate and put some air under that forehand. Goes for a slice backhand option. Pegula had a short forehand in the middle of the court, but she backed off of it. And Gauff misses the forehand, literally hits the side of the post of the net. Game point, Pegula. If Pegula wins this 6-2, 6-1, it'll be the longest 6-2, 6-1 match in history, maybe? Coco with another approach miss on the forehand. It's just not a good day for that forehand. Pegula's up 6-2, 5-1. Pegula's coach, David Witt, is happy and clapping, and she's almost 2 feet into the finals of the WTA finals in Cancun. Ghosty is saying Australia hates the U.S. now. They're about a year from pivoting away from us to China, and then we'll have to go through this all over again when Steve Simon can't get Aya Tomljanovic. The mere mention of Aya Tomljanovic makes me shudder because I mentioned her ranking a year after Serena Williams' last match that Tomljanovic beat her in, and I got all kind of backlash. I got backlash from Donna Vekic. I got backlash from Monica Puig about how inappropriate I was for bringing up Tomljanovic's ranking a year after beating Serena because she had been injured for most of the season. When all I did was say what her ranking is. I didn't say what my opinion on her ranking was. I just said what the ranking was. If you follow me on Twitter, you might know exactly what I'm talking about. Happened a couple months back. Not my greatest moment, but hey, you live and you learn. Oh, was that? Oh, Coco. She mistimed a jumping smash, and the smashes went out long. Yikes. I'm sure she wants to get off of the court, but in a weird and unfortunate twist of events, it seems like there's going to be more tennis for her and Pegula to play because they're still in the doubles. And because of all the rains and stops and starting, that double schedule was even more logged and back behind. So yeah, it's a mess. Chaos in Cancun. Cynthia, yeah, Coco's done. Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah, she looks like she wants to be off the court. Can't blame her. I would too. She's trying to avoid match point here at 5-1, 30 all. Pegula has a forehand in the middle of the court, doesn't do too much with it. Like, she's done all match pretty much. She's kind of just waited for Coco to self-destruct, and she does. She goes just wide with another forehand and sets up match point for Pegula in a match that's 57 minutes on the official time clock. Wow. It just has felt so much longer because of the delays, but it's only been 57 minutes. Coco misses the first serve, second serve incoming. She actually gets aggressive with the second serve, and Pegula can't handle it. Saves off a match point. She's probably thinking to herself, where has that serve been at all week? Michael Steisch. I know exactly who that is, but I wasn't into tennis. Actually, I don't think I was alive when Michael Steisch and Boris Becker were playing Wimbledon finals. But I've done my history, and I know that they were very important to the culture of tennis in the 80s and 90s. Coco's fought back in this game. She just hit a nice drop shot that Pegula couldn't get to make game point for herself. Second serve incoming, advantage Coco. Pretty aggressive cut from Pegula on the return. Has a put away forehand in the middle of the court, and she puts it away. Back to deuce. To say that the WTA finals has been a circus or a shit show, or however you also want to put that, Pegula has been the most level-headed out of all of it. So, yeah, it seems right that she would be in the final. Not quite. She still has to close out this match, but up 6-2, 5-1, you can start to write the paper on how Pegula got to the finals. Especially when Coco was giving you double faults and setting you up for another match point. I've lost count of how many double faults Coco's hit, but that last one just gave Pegula a second match point. Another second serve incoming. She tries to be aggressive with it. Pegula gets it back in the box, and Coco wild off the forehand, which has been the story of this match. And that puts Jessica Pegula into the final of the WTA Year-Ending Championships in Cancun for the first time in her career. A nice hug from the doubles partners, Coco and Pegula. A very, very on paper straightforward match, 6-2, 6-1 for Pegula. But as we've sat here and talked throughout it, there were multiple delays for rain and wind, and definitely more into the scoreline than may appear. But Pegula wins 6-2, 6-1, is into the final of the WTA finals. Good for her. That was Coco's last singles match of the year. I'm confident in saying that's probably not how she wanted to go out, but tough conditions. Pegula just has played better. She is 5-0. Oh, 4-0 in Cancun. I don't believe Pegula has lost a match in Mexico. She won the Guadalajara WTA 1000 last year. She didn't play it this year because it was like the week or so after the US Open, so she wanted to take some rest. But now she's back in Mexico in Cancun, and she hasn't lost a match all week. So she's going to be in the final and facing either Arina Sabalenka or Iga Swiatek. The head-to-head is not in her favor in either of those matches, but she does have wins. She has 2 wins over Sabalenka, one of them coming at this tournament, and she has 3 wins over Swiatek, one of those coming in Montreal earlier this season and at United Cup at the beginning of the season. So, yeah, she would like her chances in both of those matches. She's played well. She's been steady. She's been consistent. She's been dealing with the conditions as best as she can, and she's into the biggest final of her career. Good on you, Jessica Pegula. Cynthia, time to go home and get some rest, Coco. Ghosty says, no worries, Coco, come back to Florida, darling. Get right for the next one. I agree. Coco, wildly enough, can still be a 2-time major champion as a teenager because the Australian Open is going to come and go, and Coco will still be 19 years old. So, yeah, this is just in a weird way, kind of just the beginning for Coco. So, Roy Brown is saying Coco will be number one. I agree. I think there's definitely space for her up at the top. If she keeps improving, today was not a great example of her best level, but we've seen how her best level can match up with the best this season alone, winning that DC Cincinnati tournament, winning the DC and Cincinnati tournaments en route to the biggest tournament win of her career at the US Open. So her highest of levels can definitely bring home some silverware. Max is asking, Miles, do you think JPEG can beat Iga or Saba in the final? I do. I do think in these conditions, she can be steady enough to basically do what she did to Coco. I think Sabalenka and Iga's forehands are definitely more solid than Coco's, but on a windy, rainy, stop-starty day, Pegula's not who you want to play. And Sabalenka and Iga are definitely type of players that are going to try to be on the front foot. And if that's misfiring, Pegula will be right there to take advantage of it. So I definitely think it is a safe bet to go with Pegula. She was my pre-tournament pick because if you guys aren't aware, the last couple of WTA finals winners have not been Grand Slam champions. If you go all the way back to 2015, Radwanska, 2016, Sibylkova, 2017 Wozniacki. She had not won a Grand Slam yet. 2018, Svitolina, she hasn't won one. And then last year in Fort Worth, 2022, Caroline Garcia, she's never won a Grand Slam champion. So it's kind of been a breeding ground for players to get that big title either before they go on to lift a Grand Slam trophy or to have this be the best tournament win on their resume. So I think if that trend is still intact, we'll see Pegula lifting the trophy. But for now, we're going to bask in Pegula's win. I'm going to take a little break, and enjoy the muffin I was eating on earlier. And I'll be back to call Swiatek versus Sabalenka, which is a very interesting match. Reigning Australian Open champion Sabalenka and reigning French Open champion Swiatek are battling it out for a chance to play Pegula in the final. And I believe the world number one ranking is on the line. Maybe I shouldn't have said reigning because it's been doing too much of that in Cancun. And let's cross our fingers that it's not more of it in the second semifinal between Sabalenka and Swiatek. So with that said, I'm going to take a quick break. I will be back with you guys on the next stream in just a little while between Sabalenka and Swiatek. Make sure to subscribe to Talking Tennis, like this video, and see me right back on in a couple of minutes to talk through Sabalenka and Swiatek. It's been fun. Go get a drink, enjoy a snack, and come right back. Bye, guys.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.